There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't seen you in seasons, but all I hear is your voice. I know my limits, you can break me down, but I'll stay till the finish line. And I've been counting minutes for quite some time now, just to see you again. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been fighting ways to get away, to see you again, see you again. We got millions of reasons to let it all go. Hope we're not too broken. I know I'm not always strong, and I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been fighting ways to get away, to see you again, see you again.
Hey everyone, welcome to tonight's game between Phoenix Rising and Evo Esports. Tonight is a First Division VSG matchup. This is the second last week of VSG, so these games are very important for these teams, seeing as the two winners will actually get a chance to play off for Comic Con. Tonight I am joined by the lovely Donimay.
Hello everybody.
Awesome, glad to be casting with you again.
Yeah, I know, it feels like it's been forever, even though I think we only casted a few days ago.
Yeah, pretty much. Casting things. So if we look at the two teams tonight, we have Phoenix Rising sitting with their core six here: Sun Phoenix, General Sound, Ripcord, NLT, Hammy, Physics. Really, really big names there. I mean, NLT coming from the Noobs Inc. days. Noobs Inc. being a team that beat Eden in the first year. I think the only team that beat Eden in the first year. I'm not too sure. But I mean, really sitting with a stacked lineup. And then on the side of Evolution, I'm not too sure about their roster. What can you tell me there, Donnie?
Yeah, they're also sitting with their core six, well, at least 5 of the core 6 at the moment. We've got Maestro, that's their main tank, Aviator, Necrots, Bobby Pangang, Lorena, and Eli. Eli playing support for them now, after they had to replace their captain, Ali B. So it'll be interesting to see what these two teams do tonight.
I'm extremely interested to see what comes from Evolution here. Like seeing as we did watch their last game up against Project Allflex, who did extremely well last leg. I'm quite interested to see what they bring up against Phoenix Rising, because it seemed like they just needed some time to kind of compose themselves and just get everything back together, and just almost figure out what they needed to do as a team. And once they had done that, they took a map of Project Allflex very convincingly, and the last map should have probably gone to them. I remember it was quite a nail-biting finish there.
Yeah, no, definitely. A lot of the matchup that we've seen in this last leg have been very action-packed, have been very sort of close cut. So teams have really sort of stepped up their game, sort of trying to give each other a run for their money. So it'd be nice to see what they do.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to actually see what does happen here. We are gonna be seeing Evo Esports attacking first here. It looks like a very interesting composition that they've got going. I mean, they have the Widowmaker, they have the Pharah, and it's almost like they want to play this long poke war with Phoenix Rising here. And Phoenix Rising coming back at them with this crowd control like unit. I mean, Orisa Roadhog is known for just keeping people in a group away from them, and then you have the Pharah to top that off.
Yeah, definitely a lot of sort of potential damage output on the side of Phoenix Rising, as you said, with the Pharah on their team as well as the Junkrat. So if they do come with Maestro on the Reinhardt, his shield probably won't stay up for very long. A lot of damage output there.
Yeah, specifically with the Orisa, I mean the Orisa can break down a shield, whereas the Reinhardt's just going to stand there and kind of soak up the damage. He can't really actually contest the Orisa shield, because it's just not going to work. And we do immediately see the Pharaoh Mercy battle coming out here from both sides. Hammy sitting on the side of Phoenix Rising and Necros on the side of Evo Esports, and Bobby Gang does get taken out, but immediately rezzed up by Lorena, making the fight 6v6. But General Sound and Ripcord really pushing in here, taking out the tanks for Evo Esports, and Eli's being pressured heavily by Hammy, really making sure that Eli doesn't get a moment's like breath, almost, if you could put it that way, to kill Hammy off in the air.
Yeah, now we see Eli swapping off of that Widowmaker onto the McCree at the moment. It just seems as if he's just being contested too much to really be effective in this first push.
No, and it's a big thing for Widowmakers on this map, because these high grounds are so close to one another. The Orisa can give that Widowmaker so many problems. The Junkrat's causing lots of problems for the Reinhardt, which means you can't really stand behind the shield. You have to try find this off-angled high ground, but it's extremely hard. Ooh, Hammy almost getting taken out there. Physics doing lots of work on this Orisa, just sitting up on this high ground. As I say that, he does jump down, however, willing to contest point just to set Phoenix Rising back up with this point. And it does look like they take out Maestro. Ripcord, massive tire there, taking out 2, Aviator and Lorena. That is going to be a reset from Evolution Esports. They are needing to regroup here. Eli getting picked off there, Trickle at the end, Hammy also picking up Necros, and Babi Pangang has the right idea. He moves back to base, just waiting it out, not too eager to engage on the side of Phoenix Rising here.
Phoenix Rising is doing a very good job at sort of trying to control the sustains on the side of Evo, so their support seem to be going down quite fast. So maybe they might have to swap Maestro off of the Reinhardt onto a more sort of dive type comp to try and get into this backline of Phoenix Rising.
Precisely, and as you say that, Maestro actually pushing up, but Hammy does get the ult off, but Bobby Pangang decides, screw that, he's gonna res. He's gonna ult. Lorena reses Maestro, and Physics and Sun Phoenix popping off, actually taking out Necros, taking out Aviator's mech. NLT does, however, go down to Necros' ult, but you have Ripcord taking out Eli, and these counter picks from both teams are really gonna make this a tough point to contest. Both sides actually have a tank on the point, so this is going to be a lot harder for them. Evolution should be taking this out, and they... Ripcord, just a big tire yet again, taking out Aviator, taking out Lorena, setting up this kill on Aviator as the baby diva for General San. Bobby Pangang also going down, and Eli popping ultimate, unfortunately kind of wasted there, just trying to make a play for his team but not really getting anything out of it. That's unfortunate.
Ripcord doing a lot of work for Phoenix Rising at the moment. Very nice swap by them as well, swapping Physics off of that Orisa onto the Reinhardt. I think that maybe Eli with his ult was trying to sort of catch the Reinhardt a little bit unawares, but fortunately Physics on top of his came, got the shield right back up, and allowing for Eli to not really have much effect with his ultimate there.
Precisely, Eli not really getting much out of that ultimate. As we say that, we do see Maestro actually getting picked up, Bobby Pong getting picked up, and yeah, I don't actually know what to say here. It just looks like Phoenix Rising is really causing lots of problems for them, and they can't really get anything done with it. Hammy yet again in this backline, just sitting here, ulting, taking out the third, and he's just really doing so well for his team, just creating that high ground advantage, if you could put it that way, even though he's not on the high ground specifically, he's in the air, but I mean, he's still doing so well for his team here. Eli does get on point, and it's Physics just trying to hold that point. We do see Maestro here on the Winston just trying to keep this point alive, just trying to stay here. His Mercy gets taken out, however, by Hammy, and he goes down. That's General Sound taking him down, and he's saying no, he's going to take out this Diva now next. Necro unfortunately getting trapped, Baby Diva getting charged, and that's going to be the point.
Very solid hold there from Phoenix Rising. They put in a lot of work. They seem to be very sort of target focused and oriented in what's happening. Physics did a fantastic job of negating at least 2 ults in those last 2 engagements. He stopped Eli from using his Deadeye. The Mercy, the Diva bomb also not really getting much there, because he just seems to be positioned in such a way that he can always have his shield up to protect the maximum amount of members on his team. So that really seems to be working out well for Phoenix Rising at the moment.
Yeah, precisely as you said that. I mean, Hammy and Ripcord, I mean, the Junkrat Pharah combination there is extremely strong in terms of breaking down shields. And unfortunately for the side of Evolution Esports, they are sitting with this issue where they have a Junkrat and a Pharah spamming down on them, so at any one point in time, Hammy and Ripcord can decide we're both going to spam the shield, and that Ryan's shield's not going to stay up for longer than 5 seconds, I can tell you that much. And what that just means for Evolution Esports is they need to figure out a different line of attack, they need to figure out a different way of dealing with the problem that Phoenix Rising are posing to them right now. And having run that Orisa on defense, as you say, like, the shield battle is just almost won every time for Phoenix Rising, and it's really sitting right now on the side of Evolution Esports. It's sitting on their DPS's hands almost to deal with Hammy in the sky, because he almost went completely uncontested.
I mean, they had the Widow in the beginning to try and sort of deal with that Pharah, but unfortunately, with those 2 spam DPSs, both the Pharah and the Junkrat, and as well, of course, also the Orisa that can also contest the Widow, it was just too difficult for them to get around. So an alternate angle would definitely sort of be more advantageous for them.
No doubt about that. And as we said, that Aviator gets taken out here by Firestrike. Lorena trying to look for that res. It does look like Phoenix Rising, however, pushing up, making sure that she can't secure the res. Sun Phoenix right the back there with this Genji. with this Lucio pickup actually. Physics diving extremely fast, pops a hello there as Ripcord picks up 2 in that fight, picking up Lorena, picking up the second one, and there we see it. He takes down Aviator and Necros, and that does look like it's going to be Phoenix Rising's point, unless EVO Esports can get here extremely quickly. Unfortunately, Ripcord doing so much work on this Widowmaker, actually negating EVO Esports' chance of getting here. And then we see it. It looks like Phoenix Rising is this well-oiled machine. I mean, coming from Prem, we expect them to be a lot better than the rest of First Division, but the way they are playing right now and the way they are creating their own space is really, really good for them. And I mean, as I said, they look so synergized and so good together right now.
They absolutely have a lot of synergy happening within their team. They seem to be positioned in places that work out really well for them. It protects the people that need protecting. It gives line of sight to the ranged heroes on their team. Their ults seem to be they seem to be using them at the right time, at the right place. So strategically, it seems as if their experience is definitely counting in their favor at the moment.
I can't agree with you more. I mean, we do see some big names there. NLT having played competitively for very long. Hammy, not a new name on the block. Physics as well. Sun Phoenix, Ripcord, General Sun. Like this looks like an all-star team, and lots of people almost expected them to do extremely well in Prem, and I think lots of people didn't realize that they were completely new together. And I think now you can see the true beauty of all these different players that are so strong coming together and pulling together. And I think on the side of EVO, what they need right now is they need some synergy. It's almost as if they aren't focusing things down together, as you said, which is a really core regard right now, specifically when you're playing something where you have a Pharah and a Widowmaker with a Reinhardt and a Zarya, because the Reinhardt and the Zarya are there to create space, yes, but also to initiate on those low targets, or have the Pharah initiate on them. And I think EVO Esports just need to find their groove right now, and they're struggling to do that.
Yeah, it does appear as if they haven't quite found their stride just yet. The first sort of map went quite quickly, so hopefully they'll get a minute now to just sort of collect themselves and work on their synergy, work on sort of the way that they move together as a team. And the next map that we do have up is King's Row. We know that it's a favorite. We know that a lot of people practice this, a lot of people play it. So if there's a place where they can sort of get everything back together the way it's supposed to be, this is definitely the map for them to be able to do that.
Yeah, and without a doubt, like the side on EVO Esports is also extremely experienced in this regard. They all strong players. Maestro being an amazing Reinhardt, Lorena very, very good on that Mercy, Eli just showing his hit scan capability time and time again. Bobby Pangang with his Zenyatta is an extremely, extremely good player there. Necros, Aviator, all of them, they can flex into so many roles and play so well together. I think they just need to compose themselves right now. It's extremely tough when you go into a map like that and you get held at first point. Motivationally speaking, they need to pull themselves just back up, kind of just compose themselves and play their own game, I think.
Well, we will see what they do this round and see whether they are able to sort of get their stride.
Oh, let's hope for it. Oh, Physics actually just jumping in there. Not really sure how that works. But he gets right onto the point, and we see the Ghost composition coming out here from Phoenix Rising. Physics does charge down Maestro, immediately getting the main tank pickup, and he's pushing in. Ripcord is on Eli, taking him out. Lorena getting a cheeky res off onto Maestro. That might actually win them the fight here. However, no one is contesting point right now. Ripcord taking out Bobby Pangang. Physics Necros. Aviator does demake Ripcord, but to no avail. Lorena, Aviator, and Maestro going down in quick succession there to secure this point for Phoenix Rising.
Phoenix Rising definitely using the strength of this composition that they're running at the moment sort of to their advantage. See them doing another very aggressive push, getting right up into the faces of Evo, even before the payload started moving, to try and create as much space as possible to leave this payload uncontested for the longest time.
Precisely, and we see them just pushing up here, using the kind of trickle tactic that you would see from higher level teams. They really know that right now, if we push up, we're going to get a few kills, and that's going to mean a lot more to us than just standing all on cart. And as I say that, they've immediately moved through the stroke, and they're almost at this first corner already, and that says a lot about what this team knows, their game knowledge, and how they're playing together. We do see right now that Phoenix Rising are sitting ahead on the ult game as well, which is really problematic for Evo Esports. And Sun Phoenix, as I say that, Sun Phoenix pops his ultimate and they're going to push in. Phoenix Rising are looking for big picks here right now, and we see Sun Phoenix leading the charge, really getting up in Maestro's face, trying to get up there. Maestro does charge physics, however General Sand bubbling him. General Sound really pushing in here with physics. Sun Phoenix right in front there. However, that is a massive shatter, taking out Hammy. But we do see Ripcord popping his ultimate, zoning out Maestro completely from that Earth Shatter. Eli takes out the Hammy. However, it does look like Phoenix Rising are going to fall flat here. Bobby Pangang getting 2 pickups there. Big grab there. Really good play, just to kind of secure that point and compose themselves as a team.
Definitely, it was very nice work there from the side of Evo, given that so much pressure was being applied to them right from the get-go, right out of spawn almost. They had so much pressure applied to them, but it seems to be that they were, this time around at least, quite unfazed by the pressure that was applied.
No doubt about it, and we do see them using quite a few ultimates there, having Bobby Pangang had to drop Transcendence, Aviator popped his junk tire, Necro's popping Zarya grab, Maestro popping Reinhardt ultimate. I mean, that's 4 ults, and Phoenix Rising know that now. Physics pushing in here. General Sound has his ultimate. Hammy unfortunately getting taken out by Eli. Eli really pushing up right into the faces here of Phoenix Rising. But we do see Ripcord coming through with that Pharah, really causing problems for them. Hammy getting rezzed, immediately going to cause lots of problems for Evo Esports here. Sun Phoenix taking out Maestro, but not before Maestro can take out Physics. And it does look like Necros is trying to focus out that Mercy from Phoenix Rising, but Ripcord taking him out. And we see NLT also going down, Hammy taking out Eli, and this is kind of like no supports here right now. So it looks like both teams are going to keep pushing in. Phoenix Rising does have a bit of an advantage in terms of numbers. Hammy just securing that for them even more. Larina almost getting taken out as she's trying to res there. There's a big Zarya grab. However, it does look like Bobby Pangang is going to save the day yet again with his Transcendence. Physics pushing in, Ripcord, big ultimate, taking out 2, General Sound taking out Necros, and that's Hammy securing up the point for them. And it does look like Larina's going to take out her pistol and try get a bit of ult charge. Unfortunately, to no avail.
You see Phoenix Rising once again sort of trying to adapt their player style. We've got Ripcord switching off of that Diva onto the Pharah. So it definitely is creating a lot of space for them at this point in time.
And we see Phoenix Rising, as you say, creating the space, and it's interesting because Ripcord is getting targeted completely out by Eli, and he can't really take that high ground where Aviator's sitting right now. However, he's still doing so much work, he's still putting in the damage that he needs to. And we see Maestro actually getting taken out, Hammy picking up 2, General Sound picking up Arena, and Phoenix Rising turning that fight completely into their favor after Evo Esports had used Junk Tire as well as Zarya Ultimate. I mean, that's just shows you the almost the game sense that these guys have in terms of, we can turn this fight around, let's do it. Hammy immediately popping ult, getting 2, Bobby Pangang popping Transcendence, making sure his team's back up. Sun Phoenix popping Transcendence, making sure his team's up, and they just secured the point immediately. Unfortunately, it does look like they're going to have to back up here. Maestro getting his ultimate, pushing in, really pushing into General Sound, taking him out. Eli getting pocketed. Necros taking out Ripcord. Aviator does get taken down by Hammy, however. And Hammy's still sitting here on this high ground, really being cheeky with this Hanzo. And he's already got his ultimate up. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, Phoenix Rising definitely sort of pumping out the numbers, especially in terms of their ultimates. We saw when Ripcord swapped off from the Diva to the Pharah, it wasn't even halfway through that engagement. He already had that ultimate up in which he got the 2 picks, and they are sitting ahead of ultimates at the moment once again.
Yeah, it seems that the ult economy on the side of Phoenix Rising here is a lot better than the ult economy on the side of EVO Esports. As I say that, there's lots of ultimates going down there. Graviton Surge getting used, Transcendence getting used, Dragon Strike getting used, and we see Aviator has swapped onto this Pharah, and I think that's maybe making the difference here for Evolution Esports. Really pushing in, really causing a lot more pressure, putting a lot more pressure on Ripcord and NLT, contesting that Pharah in the air by counter-Pharahing, making sure that you're either going to kill me, buddy, or I'm going to kill your team. And that's just how they're going to roll with it. I think this will work for them. Oh, as I say that, however, Ripcord picking up 3, taking out the Diva, out of mech as well. They're just going to trickle Necros here. And then Lorena, the only one yet again on point, gets taken out. And Phoenix Rising, Ripcord, big play there. Just getting right behind them, just making sure he gets that ultimate off. Clearing out 3, which secures this point for Phoenix Rising.
No, definitely. As you mentioned earlier, I think the fact that Phoenix Rising is sort of doing a lot better in terms of ult economy is really working out in their favor. Not only do they seem to be sort of using their ultimates in combinations a little bit better, but they are definitely also building ultimates at almost double the rate that EVO are building their ultimates at the moment. So it allows for them to create a lot of pressure, a lot of space with these ultimates, because I mean, if your Transcendence has been used, there isn't much you can do after that if there's still 2 more ultimates being rained down upon you from the enemy team.
Precisely, and we see it there, Hammy being on the Hanzo, Ripcord being on the Pharah, which means both of those being extremely offensive ults, being able to take out your team almost immediately, which means that the Zenyatta pickup is extremely important. However, Zenyatta can't farm an ultimate for Hanzo's ultimate, and then farm another ultimate for Pharah's ultimate, because I mean, that's just ridiculous. I don't think any Zenyatta in the world can do that, to be honest. And as we see, like, Phoenix Rising just showing with their compositional tactics that they know there's only one Transcendence, which means even if we grab Hanzo ult now, Ripcord's just going to come in with his Pharah ultimate and do the exact same thing. And it's almost like Phoenix Rising's ult economy, as you said, really carrying them specifically throughout this map, knowing when to disengage, when to engage, when to keep the fight going, and when it's on their side. And I think we see that even with the GOAT's composition, them knowing exactly where their boundary is with it. So we see quite an interesting few picks coming out here from EVO Esports, actually deciding on going with the Genji Widowmaker. It looks like they want to play this poke battle yet again, not having worked for them on Rialto. We're going to have to see what they do here on King's Row Attack, but it does look like Phoenix Rising are getting extremely aggressive. General Sound actually picking up Maestro, almost picking up Lorena there. He does, however, get purpled, so he's going to have to move back a little bit, just back it up. And we can see Physics getting extremely aggressive, wanting to go in here. Eli does, however, pick up Sun Phoenix, but Maestro does get taken out. NLT as well. That's both supports on the side of Phoenix Rising. Physics trying to find some HP. However, Necros takes him out immediately, not giving him any issues. Hammy, however, popping off, really picks up that kill on Necros, but he's going to have to back up as well. He's having a really good game.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Evo sort of leaving the point there for a moment.
Yeah, Evo leaving the point there, trying to contest, kind of push forward, and just Hammy just punishing Eli just for peeking there. And now, as we speak, we see, if we look at the ultimate advantage on the side of Phoenix Rising here versus EVO Esports, we yet again see that Phoenix Rising, even though they had lost the fight, still have more ult charge. As I said, that Ripcord coming out, getting 2. Eli, however, in return picks up Sun Phoenix and Hammy. Necros really spamming up from the top here with him, And it does look like NLT is going to res Sun Phoenix. That does mean Phoenix Rising do have a bit of an upper hand there. Bringing back the Zenyatta, that should be able to allow them to contest this point a lot closer than what they were expecting. We see Maestro getting extremely aggressive here, trying to get right up in Physics' face. Aviator really pushing in as well. Maestro popping the ultimate, picking up 3. Necros picking up 3 there as well, really pushing into this team here. And he is going to try to see if he can pick up Hammy. If he does manage to do this, they might actually get quite a nice trickle here, and we're going to have to see how that turns out for them. Yet again there, that was very good play by Evo. As you said, it's almost as if they're listening to you, telling them about the ultimate economy.
Yeah, no, it definitely sometimes feels as if the teams are listening while we're talking, because they do seem to sort of catch on quite quickly sort of what the problem is, and sort of that's what we expect to see from teams at this level of play. You know, they need that adaptability. They need to be able to sort of establish what the problem is, what the best way to fix it, and then implement that as quickly as possible.
Precisely, and we see Evo actually pushing in there, using the Zarya ultimate and getting the picks they needed. They got 4 there, securing them the fight instantaneously, and that just shows the ult economy game that they are playing right now. They know what they did wrong, and they're going to fix it right now. Maestro getting his ultimate back up yet again. 2 going down, however Necros and Eli taken down in return. That's both DPS for the side of Evo Esports. They're going to have to see how they're going to contest this card. Maestro right up here in the backlines, trying to pick up General San, trying to pick up their Mercy. However, gets taken out. Lorena, however, cheeky pick on Ripcord. And it does look like Evo Esports are going to get punished for that overextend there. Just going slightly too far, I think. Maestro getting his shadow up so quickly, getting right in there, however, charging a little bit too far to have his team actually capitalize on his position.
Now we see Ripcord swapping off of the Junkrat onto the Widowmaker to try and contest Eli, that's also playing the Widow at the moment. Eli been going relatively uncontested up to now.
No doubt about it, and Eli actually just taking out Ripcord, taking out Hammy as well. That is both of the snipers. It looks like Physics has gotten quite a good ultimate off here, and that is Bobby Pangang getting taken out. Physics is going to pick up Maestro. It does look like Aviator is going to go down with him. Eli not sure if he's going to survive this, but Physics is right up here in the backline, really wanting more blood. He does look like he wants Lorena really bad, but he's going to back up. His run senses tell him, no, we got to move back, buddy. Hammy getting picked up yet again by Eli there. Ripcord, however, in return, picks him up. And it does look like Lorena's going to opt to res Eli just to make sure that this Widow duel is won. Ripcord getting a nice pick there. However, Eli just really showing his ability on this Widowmaker, really doing so much work for the side of Evo Esports. And we see Physics almost setting a back up on ultimate. Maestro sitting on his. It does look like he's going to pop it. Oh, both Ryan Arts completely negated. It does look like General San's going to pop ultimate with Hammy using dragons. Eli, however, picks up NLT and the Chaos as well as Ripcord. Necro's taking out Sun Phoenix. That's both supports down from Sun Phoenix Rising. It does look like Aviator's going to pressure Hammy extremely. It does. Hammy actually pushing in, getting up Eli. Lorena resing him. Hammy still contesting this high ground, not wanting them to have the space, not wanting them near that high ground. Hammy doing so much work here on this Hanzo, completely actually zoning out Aviator because he just keeps popping up right into his face. Ripcord opting to swap into the Genji. Hammy immediately back up with that ultimate. That's the second fight in a row he's gotten it. Necros getting purple, taken out by Ripcord. Good transcendence by Sun Phoenix. Pushing in. Physics, however, gets punished. Maestro taking him out. Ripcord picking up Lorena, however. And Ripcord picking up Anna as well. Ripcord doing so much work here for his team. Completely keeping Eli out of this fight. Making sure he can't do any damage. And that's the answer to a Widow. I mean, if you can't kill the Widow as Widow, you just swap Genji, right? Ripcord making it look so easy for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Also fantastic work there from the supports on the side of Phoenix Rising. Sun Phoenix sort of almost saving Ripcord there, was on 2 bars health when he decided to push in further. So very nice job there from them. We also see General Sound doing a lot of work to protect Ripcord and that Genji, as well as Hammy on the Hanzo while he was contesting that high ground. He was permanently being bubbled, which allowed him to sort of stay up there and zone them out in that high ground.
Precisely. Oh, massive ultimate by Aviator there. Maestro actually opting to pop his ultimate to just secure all the kills that they needed. Phoenix Rising showing their experience here, actually backing up. General San backing up completely. Hammy popping ultimate on point, demaking the Diva, getting Larina, getting Bobby Pong. That is both supports from the side of Evo Esports. Ripcord opting to pop his ultimate, taking out Eli on the McCree, going for Aviator now in this Diva mech. Diva has been demeked. Necros only one on point right now, sitting there, does take out Ripcord, however gets taken down by Hammy. And as you were saying, Donimay, Hammy and General Sound, the way they contested this high ground held that point for Phoenix Rising. Like, they had lost 3, just that they had lost this fight, and yet again they show the ability to take a fight on completely empty-handed, if you could put it, and still winning it. And here we see a massive Zarya grab, however not capitalized upon. Physics does however get Aviator. Necros getting taken down by Ripcord. Maestro getting taken out. Physics not having none of it, really pushing in, and that does look like Bobby Pongang's going to be the last one to contest, and he's not going to make it.
Those last 2 ultimates, both the grab and the shatter, definitely being used more to sort of keep Evo off the point rather than to try and sort of kill the team and win the fight.
Precisely. This Phoenix Rising are really impressing me here with the intensity that they're playing with, but also the way they are they're taking fights that are technically lost for them and still managing to do so well in terms of just winning the point or stalling the point long enough so that the rest of the team can get back here, and really giving Evo Esports an extremely tough time when it comes down to using these ultimates on carts and trying to win those clutch fights, if you could put it that way.
Absolutely. It definitely speaks to their experience together as a team. The way that they function definitely seems to be working very well for them. And it's not only do they work very well together as a complete unit, but you can see these sort of almost duo partnerships happening as the games progress. So like I said earlier, with General Sound and Ham.
I'm not sure if we've lost Donimay or that is my side.
All teams sort of work well together, but the sort of individuals within the team also are synergizing really well.
Yeah, sorry, we missed a little part of that due to a technical difficulty where my sound bugs out in Discord. Quite fantastic. But I think I am catching what the drift of what you're saying here is the smaller synergies within Phoenix Rising are really helping them and causing them to win. It's like, as you said, between General Sun and Hammy, Sun Phoenix and Physics pushing up there, right up into their faces. Hammy getting bubbled every single time he got into that high. It's extremely good play by Phoenix Rising, and as you said, their experience really showing here. I'm extremely keen to see what Evo Esports do, however, bring out on this control point, because if I remember correctly, against Project Allflex, they took the control point map. Having played extremely well there, really showing almost the fire and the will to come back to get a map off them. Having lost that game 3-1, I think they can take a lot more, or they did take a lot more out of it than everyone else thought they would. And on this map, I'm expecting the same. I'm expecting them to come with this intensity and this almost re-motivated team, just to kind of secure and win. Just win. I can't even explain it.
Yeah, we have seen Evo do extremely well on the TCP maps. They do seem to sort of find their momentum in these types of maps. They group up, they work together, because I mean there isn't the space is limited, and sort of the objective is a very sort of focused point. So it's a lot sort of less sort of drawn out strategy and more of a get to the point, secure it, build up your ults and win kind of scenario. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what they do.
Precisely, and we do see Cappuccino actually swapping in here for Eli. Cappuccino already making the difference, getting in there, picking up NLT, and picking up Hammy as well. That's both supports down from Phoenix Rising. Sorry, 2 of the 3 supports down from Phoenix Rising. However, this Brigitta's not going to be able to sustain, immediately getting charged out by Ryan. And, I mean, there we just see Cappuccino. I know he was, he's a very strong player individually, as is Eli. However, I think those 2 big picks right there in the beginning just show the impact he's made immediately on this match. Having swapped him in, I think Evo Esports know exactly what they're doing kind of thing now. Just a really massive play there by him, and Phoenix Rising's goat strats just falling completely flat there because of that Pharah picking off NLT and Hammy so early on.
Absolutely. I mean, the strength of that composition comes from the team sticking together and from the massive sustain that the trip support provides. So if 2 of the supports go down, there's really not much that you can do to keep the team alive.
No doubt about it, and we see yet again Cappuccino doing lots of work on this Pharah, picking up Sun Phoenix, but it does look like Ripcord has decided to bring the counter Pharah, and that might actually just make the difference. However, as I say that, he gets taken out by Cappuccino. NLT decides, we need to reset, we need to do this fast. He jumps off the map. I'm hoping that his team can get here quickly.
I know, we see Phoenix Rising opting to sort of switch up their composition a little bit, bringing physics on the Ryan again, switching Hammy over to the Hanzo. So definitely realizing that this Goats comp is not working for them.
Yeah, and I think Cappuccino bringing out that Pharah from the start, his Evo Esports knowing that and bringing that out, really countered Goats completely and made Phoenix Rising's first push completely useless. Cappuccino, however, getting right up here in the backline, taking out Hammy, taking out Sun Phoenix, as well as NLT. Necros doing some work, taking out Ripcord, and that's 4 down from Phoenix Rising. It looks like they're falling flat here. Evo Esports have this regained energy, regained motivation to win, push in. And I mean, Cappuccino getting another pick there, right up on General Sound. Phoenix Rising only have 5 seconds to get to this point, and it doesn't look like they're going to make it. Ripcord popping the ultimate, however, Necros just ultimating back. NLT trying to touch point, but just not making it in time. And as we said in the beginning of this map, we expect Evo to bring back that intensity. We expect that remotivated team just to come out and show us what they can do on these maps.
Evo is definitely a lot more comfortable on the 2CP maps than they are on the hybrid maps. It's evident from the way that first round went that this is where they shine. This is where they pull together and sort of how they are meant to play.
Precisely, and it's almost as if it's weird because you'd expect them on a hybrid map to do just as well as they do on control points, because a hybrid map has the same fundamentals in terms of regrouping and resetting. Sure, it's not as ultimate based, but it's odd because we felt their ultimate usage on King's Row was not as great as Phoenix Rising's, yet here we see the opposite. We see Evo Esports really coming out with their ultimates, doing lots of work. As I said that, however, Ripcord picking up Public Bangang, General Sound picking up Cappuccino, and it does look like Evo Esports have opted to raise Public Bangang, but in that moment, Maestro does get picked off. Physics going in deep, really trying to put a lot of pressure onto them, seeing if he can get a few trickles pushing up. And I think this map's particularly within Lijiang Tower is going to favor Phoenix Rising a lot more here. They've looked a lot more comfortable with their tank play and in terms of how they are playing that out. General Sound almost up on his ultimate here, Hammy as well. Bobby Pangang does pick up Sun Phoenix, so it does look like Phoenix Rising are going to have to back up, really get out of here for a little bit, just until they can farm this Graviton Surge with the Hanzo ultimate. Aviator, Necro, trying to get a few tricky picks. Maestro, however, extremely low. It does look like Ripcord's going to push in there. Ripcord getting the massive tire on Necros and Maestro. Aviator opting to pop his ultimate. General Sound going extremely low. Aviator really putting in a lot of work here, trying to keep everyone off point. But Bobby Pangang and Cappuccino really popping off here on the Zenyatta and the Hanzo. Picking up General Sound, picking up NLT. I mean, literally, EVO Esports, it looked like they were going to lose that fight, but their positioning was so good there that they didn't all get caught in that Grav ultimate. And it almost seems as if that was communicated. Really good stuff here by EVO.
Yeah, no, definitely. They did a very good play there. Unfortunately, I think they sort of used a lot of ultimates in that engagement. So this has allowed Phoenix Rising to once again sort of go into the next engagement ahead on ults.
Precisely, Phoenix Rising just coming through here with their ultimates, popping NLT's ultimate, Physics popping his, General Sound taking out Aviator, Necros going down as well, Ripcord taking out by Cappuccino, but it doesn't look like that's bothering Phoenix Rising much. NLT just raising Ripcord back up, and that means Phoenix Rising are going to cap that point. But if they did take a while, they were really struggling to retake that point, even though they used NLT's ultimate as well as Physics ultimate. I definitely agree with you in the sense that EVO Esports most no doubtedly used too many ultimates, and we see the Wombo comment coming through here, but it is Bobby Pangang saving his team with that Transcendence. Cappuccino getting taken out, Ripcord also getting taken out, Lorena raising up Cappuccino. Maestro, however, charging back in here, getting the shield up, Cappuccino picking up Physics as well as Ripcord. Sun Phoenix has to force out that Transcendence. Necros on point, knows that, he pops his ultimate, picking up 2. NLT standing on point, just gonna try stall this out for as long as he can, see if he can maybe just fly around and do mercy things. Unfortunately getting taken out there.
You know, we had that momentary mercy v mercy pistol battle there, which is quite entertaining. I quite like that. Could definitely use some more battle mercy in our VSG matches.
No doubt about it. I mean, Battle Mercy's underplayed. Sun Phoenix unfortunately getting picked up there by Aviator. And as I was trying to say earlier, Phoenix Rising capitalized extremely fast on what they had, but it's almost as if their ultimates weren't used properly or right. Maestro getting picked up after that Earth Shatter, and it does look like Phoenix Rising are going to have to get onto this point extremely fast, but they have secured it. They've already picked up 3 players. Sun Phoenix does get taken out in the backline, however. NLT really trying to get away from this Reaper. Reaper does get taken out by Ripcord there on the Junkrat, and it does look like the Mercy's going to really struggle to get back here with Bobby Pangang on that Zen, really trying to back up, get to their team, and it does look like they're going to make it out. We see the final push here coming out from EVO Esports. Bobby Pangang popping his ultimate, trying to get that Transcendence on point, making sure that healing is there. Physics, however, the ultimate getting blocked. Necros in the backline, however, taking out Sun Phoenix, taking out Ripcord, doing the work. Physics going down to Cappuccino. General Sound, the second last person on point. Ripcord almost down. Ripcord also going down. And that is going to be EVO Esports capping that point and probably winning this map.
Very, very nice push there from EVO. They definitely sort of had everything well in hand towards the end there. The fight got a little bit messy. Everybody was a little bit all over the place, but despite that, they seemed to zone out Phoenix Rising's players in such a way that they were just able to sort of capitalize on what was all the confusion that was happening.
Precisely, and EVO Esports are doing really well there. Necros on that Reaper, really showing why he's on the Reaper. I mean, Reaper's one of those characters where you really need to think about your positioning, think about which ultimates are getting used up and which counter yours, and he did extremely well there in the sense that every time after Sun Phoenix had used his Transcendence, Necros just went right behind them and just altered, and every single time he's picked up a support and a DPS, or both supports or a support and a tank, and that's causing lots of problems here for Phoenix Rising, looks like it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're just having Hammy and Cappuccino both quickly calling for a restart, so we'll be starting the next map in just a little bit. And speaking of the next map, which is Ilios, is also another 2CP map. So yet again, sort of we expect Evo to sort of have a little bit of an upper hand going into this next map, because we do see that they find a lot of momentum in these 2CP maps. They seem to coordinate well. I don't know if it's maybe the sort of the confined nature of these control point maps that sort of allows Evo to play the way they play. Because, I mean, with the hybrid maps, even though we do have that control point initially, we often see them having these sort of long corridors. There's a lot of space, especially on the control points for the hybrid maps, where when you're looking at the control points, the control point itself usually tends to be a very sort of contained space. And it sort of forces the team to sort of be together as a unit, rather than have this space open where a defending team can sort of take advantage of somebody that's slightly out of position, or even use something like a Pharah or a Widowmaker to create space in this huge sort of open area that you have.
I completely agree with that. I mean, as we looked on King's Row, what brought Phoenix Rising a lot of success there was the Pharah player, as well as Hammy being on that Hanzo. The sightlines of these control point maps are a lot shorter as you're on the point, if you're on the point, and we see Evo Esports using that to their advantage, bringing the Reaper, bringing the Junkrats, and really forcing Phoenix Rising to kind of counter them. Instead, where on Rialto as well as on King's Row, we saw Phoenix Rising being the ones leading with the compositional changes, and Evo Esports really having to try come back from that by trying to figure out how to counter it. And I think, as you said, them having to play in these confined smaller spaces on the point is really helping them a lot. And it almost seems to me, as soon as Cappuccino had come in there, it looked like their motivational game. They were almost a lot more headstrong in this map in terms of what they were doing and what they were out to achieve. Maestro having an amazing play, or just amazing play in general on that Reinhardt, really keeping Physics busy when Physics is while Physics is right up there with General San, really pushing in. I mean, as soon as they brought out Goats, you would expect that the Reinhardt without the Brigitte is really going to struggle. However, Cappuccino making a big play himself, picking out NLT, picking up Hammy, making sure that Phoenix Rising can't actually sustain themselves long enough, taking out two of what I'd say are two of the main components of that composition. Possibly one, but I mean, it's debatable. And I think that's where Evo Esports are really doing well here, really identifying what they need to do in order to win.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely do seem to sort of be getting on top of that much more easily on these control maps than they sort of did in the first two. So definitely they also sort of stepping up their game, adapting to what's happening, sort of getting the hang of what Phoenix Rising is throwing at them. I mean, it's always difficult when you play a team that's sort of been around a little longer than you have and is synergized a bit better than you do. It's not always easy to sort of know what to expect and sort of what they're going to throw at you. So it's definitely taken sort of either the first two maps to suss out Phoenix Rising at the moment, but the two teams now seeming to be very evenly matched.
No doubt about it. We do see Hammy has decided that he has changed to Evo Esports. He is no longer with us in Phoenix Rising. No, it does look like Hammy is back in the lobby now. For those of you that thought that was real, yeah, I was joking. Hammy is still part of Phoenix Rising, unfortunately. Would have quite liked to see him play on the Evo side, see if that made a bit of a difference here. Knowing just on that comment, I mean, Hammy just playing extremely exceptionally well here. I mean, on King's Row we saw him take 3 fights consecutively with his ultimate up on that Hanzo, and that's what you want from a DPS, is you want an ultimate every fight. I mean, if you can do that, the enemy team's going to really have a rough time. And I think we're underestimating how tough this matchup is for both of these teams. As you said, them being extremely equally matched up and just kind of figuring each other out and playing to their strengths, figuring out what's going to work to counter them. And I'm extremely keen to see the next few matches come through.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do and how they adapt. I think another interesting thing would be that if they sort of in these VSG matchups sort of post play maybe did a bit of a mix up between the teams, so we can see how these the teams work together. Like when you were joking about Hammy being on the other team, I think it'd be quite interesting to see what would happen if they'd sort of mix scrim these two teams up together and see sort of what comes from that.
I think some people might be leaving teams after that. Having played quite a few mixed scrims, I completely agree with you. Having two teams as equally matched as this, really seeing who is making the difference, if you could put it that way. And when I say difference, I don't mean exceptionally mechanically more skilled than anyone, just in terms of who is making the play that they need. You generally see it in a mixed scrum because that's where you kind of get your time to shine, because everyone's a bit more chilled about it, and there's a little less stress, which means suddenly as a player you don't actually have too much pressure on you. For me that would be a terrible thing because I only perform under pressure, but I mean for some of these guys they would just go bonkers. I mean, ridiculous. I'd quite like to watch that actually. Seeing them swapped sides would be quite cool.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be interesting. I mean, not only is the pressure a little bit less, but also, I mean, your comfort zone gets shifted slightly, especially if you're moving sort of the main target caller from each team into the other team. It gives you this sort of different perspective on sort of how to think and how people sort of strategize differently and sort of how things work. So, I mean, it definitely spices things up quite a bit. And for me, I find like when we play the mixed scrims, it definitely sort of allows for me to have this broader big picture, because sometimes I think you get so trapped in the comfort zone of the way that the team functions that you sort of don't really think outside of that anymore. So I definitely think it's a nice thing to do.
No doubt about it. I mean, as you say, every single team's shot caller is different to another one, and that means that as soon as you go into that scrum and you have a different shot caller, you're exposed to this completely different way of thinking. Like, for instance, some teams trying to deal with a Genji, they'd bring a Winston. However, other teams would opt for Brigitte, whereas yet alone other teams on top of that would opt for their own counter Genji. And just having this completely new voice or shot caller kind of giving you their reasoning, their logic, their thinking behind what they're doing is an eye opener. As you said, it creates that bigger picture within you, to really understand conceptually what they are trying to achieve and how that would work. And I think that is what Overwatch comes down to, is trying to figure out, sure, this is the composition I have and these are the calls that are being made, and then trying to understand what those calls are and how that relates to the context of winning and securing the next point or winning the next fight. And it's extremely interesting to see, specifically when you put more than one shot caller on a team. I quite find that the most entertaining mixed scrim that you can find.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Having sort of everybody shouting over one another definitely is either going to zone you out completely or get you so hyped and focused on what's happening that everything just kind of works. And we do have Evo asking for just like another few minutes. We just have Kappa trying to sort out his internet at the moment. He is having some connectivity issues. So hopefully he'll be back up soon enough. We do know that Phoenix Rising does have another game at 8. So they are pushing it quite a bit close at the moment.
They're definitely going for the next map then.
So yeah, no, hopefully we'll have everybody up and running again in no time.
Perfect. I think with that, we're just going to take a short break and we'll resume as soon as the players are ready. Cool. See you guys now.
You can't even look me in the eyes when you say you'll make this right. I've heard all these words 1,000 times. You won't ever change your ways, doing what you like. Well, I'm no one's fool.
And it does look like Cappuccino has made it back to us, which means we will be resuming the cast. You back yet, Donimay?
I am.
Fantastic.
Everybody's calling for ready and we are all good to go.
Fantastic. And we see another control point map coming out here.
Yeah, no, and not only is it a control map, it is a boop map of note. So definitely a lot of potential for environmental kills here. I have to see whether the team sort of play to the fact that this map does have that potential, or whether they just sort of rather going to stick to a brawly kind of comp and see how they can all sort of push onto the point and fight there.
No doubt about it, I definitely expect to see Winston's coming out here. I see physics already listening to what I have to say. Just kind of leading the charge with that Winston is going to be very nice on this point, seeing as you can push people off. I was going to say I'm expecting Lucios from both teams, and there we have it immediately. Bobby Fangang and Sun Phoenix reading my mind. Necros actually possibly bringing us this Doomfist. I'd quite like to see that actually on this map.
Yeah, that'll definitely be an interesting play if he does stick to it. It's not frequently played in VSG in general, but also not really have I seen it on this map.
Yeah, unfortunately Necros does swap off, opting to go into the Genji. The only difference in these teams' compositions right now is the fact that their tanks have been differently matched up. Maestro actually being on this Reinhardt does make, or can make, a lot of space here for the side of Evo Esports. However, Physics has already taken out Mercy there. Bobby Pangang also getting taken out. Cappuccino getting taken out by Hammy as well. Hammy opting to go into the Ferry this time. Ripcord on the Genji. This is going to be a lot stronger coming from the side of Phoenix Rising here with this dive-like composition, where they have the Diva, they have the Winston, the Genji and the Pharah, which means they can immediately just all collapse onto a target and kill it off extremely quickly.
It does definitely seem to be counting on their favour at the moment. I mean, Cappuccino did get that early pick on Physics, and we see Physics going down yet again to Cappuccino in this moment, so definitely a lot of pressure that Cappuccino is applying to this dive-like comp that they have.
Yeah, Cappuccino really putting on a lot of pressure with this Pharah, and I think as soon as Maestro and Aviator actually manage to get onto this point, they're going to cause a lot of damage, they're going to cause a lot of problems for Phoenix Rising. But however, as I say that, Cappuccino getting taken out by Ripcord, Maestro going down, both supports going down, and Aviator's just going to reset. It does look like Phoenix Rising weren't even bothered by that Reinhardt and that Roadhog on point. Ooh, and we see a pause.
Yeah, Physics unfortunately has left the game, so it will now be Phoenix Rising's turn to have some connection issues, it seems.
Gotta love South African internet, always providing us with the best entertainment possible. Pause screens for at least 5 minutes every match.
Yeah, no, definitely a game of pauses. It never rains, it pauses.
Punny.
I know, excuse my bad jokes. It's been a long day.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try crack any jokes because they are that bad. Evidently.
It's okay. Just leave me to sort of do that on my own. Yeah, I know I'm more than capable of doing bad puns just all on my own, thank you.
No stress at all. I'm relatively sure you are capable enough in that department. Extremely keen to see that Physics is back, however, extremely quickly into this lobby. It does look like he's going to come back without ult charge. I'm not sure what his ultimate was on. Do you have any idea?
I wasn't actually really checking his ult at the moment. I mean, he did go down quite quickly in both engagements, so chances are it wasn't near full, but unfortunately, yes, he will be coming back with 0 ult charge.
No, and
Despite that fact, Phoenix Rising is still ahead on ults at the moment, so Bobby Pamang coming up with one shortly, so we'll see what happens in the next engagement.
it does look like they, on the side of Evo, that they're just trying to get this Genji to get his blade up, and he has gotten it up now. Sitting on 4 ultimates, both sides. Ooh, another pause.
Bobby Pamang calling for another pause. And Cappuccino loses the game once again.
Fantastic. And looking at these ultimates, Donimay, what can you tell me about this next engagement? What do you think both teams are kind of looking to do here?
Yeah, both teams like very quickly coming up on almost all of the ultimates at the moment. So you'll definitely have to try and sort of bait out these defensive ultimates. Either team will have to try, because both of them have the Lucio as well as the Mercy ult up. There's a lot of sort of extra sustain that comes there, so you're going to have to try and sort of get those out of the way as quickly as possible. Both Genji ults are up, so definitely try and focus down the Genjis. The Ryan ult definitely has the potential to sort of negate at least sort of 2 of them. If you can sort of get that in combination, maybe the Ryan ult with the Genji blade could definitely sort of put a halt in Phoenix Rising's push. However, if Phoenix Rising manages to get a decent Diva bomb off, get the Ryan shield down, get a Diva bomb in, that can definitely also take out a lot of Evo. So it sort of all depends on who can manage to get their combos, well, sort of positioned in the right space to get their ults comboed in the most efficient way.
I completely agree with that. I think this is all going to go down to who can actually get these defensive ultimates off when the Genji blade does come through on either team. And even if we might not even see the Genji Blade coming through if Maestro does get big enough shadow that Evo can capitalize on. But as I say that, Ripcord deciding immediately to go in, he does get taken out extremely quickly. General Sound opting to pop his ultimate here. That is already Maestro having popped his ultimate. Lorena popping her ultimate. Babi Pangang does get taken out by Hammy, and it does look like Necros is going to have to do a lot of work on this Genji to get in there. However, Sun Phoenix does come through with the ultimate. Hammy popping his ultimate on point, taking out Cappuccino, taking out Necros as physics. Aviator getting taken out as well, and that looks like Phoenix Rising are going to take that point.
Yeah, no, definitely good use of ultimate there. It almost seems as if they used Ripcord on the Genji to sort of bait out that initial play. I mean, he went down so quickly that there was no capitalization on that blade, but despite that fact, they still managed to cap that point.
Yeah, and I think it was Ripcord wanted to get in there faster than he thought Babi Pangang's ult would be up. However, he didn't account for the fact that it was up. Maybe he was also just trying to bait out all the other ultimates, because as he went in with that ultimate, Maestro used his ultimate, Babi Pangang used his ultimate, Lorena also used her ultimate, and that means you already have three ultimates going kind of almost down the drain, I'd like to say. Not quite, but it's almost like you just use all three to kill off this Genji, and the enemy team is still sitting with three more, and I think that's what won them this fight. Babi Pangang getting hooked by General Sound out of position there. He's not going to be able to get rezzed unless Lorena picks up some very, very fishy positioning tactics from the Mercy and gets in there. However, Sun Phoenix getting taken out in return by Necros, really putting a lot of pressure on this right side of Phoenix Rising, as side of Evo here. But Physics and General Sound with Ripcord just sitting behind the Sarissa barrier, really causing lots of problems. Aviator, however, coming through from behind, taking out Physics, and Necros going down to General Sound. However, Aviator picking up another one on Ripcord. Lorena immediately raising up Necros. Aviator does go down, however Necros makes it back by taking out Physics. It does look like Sun Phoenix and General Sound are going to have to try stall. Sun Phoenix getting a nice boop off there, killing off Reaper. Cappuccino, however, picking up 3 with that ultimate, securing that point for Evo. And yet again, we see this guy making such good use of his ultimate, really capitalizing on what he's getting out of it every single time.
Yeah, no, definitely doing massive work on the Pharah. Not only does he manage to sort of use his ultimates very efficiently, but he's also building them up quite quickly.
Yeah, precisely. As we see now already, he's already sitting on 34%, and he's just used that ultimate, which means he might actually have it back up for this next fight if he can maybe get a pick or two here on the on Phoenix Rising. It does look like he's trying to focus out NLT so that NLT can stop kind of pocketing Hammy there, and for a while getting Sun Phoenix, taking him out. Hammy, however, does come through with the ultimate, taking out both tanks from Evo's side, but Cappuccino decides he's going to take out Ripcord. Lorena getting the Maestro back up. Cappuccino taking out General Sound there as well, really doing lots of work on this Pharah, really causing problems for Phoenix Rising here. NLT getting trickled there right at the end. And it looks like Evo Esports have kind of gotten their composure back, kind of maintained the intensity they had the first map, or the first control point map, and kind of brought it back in this point, where we didn't really see it last point.
Yeah, absolutely. They do seem to sort of be a little bit more comfortable with this map than they were on the previous one. They've sort of established themselves on this point. They're doing a lot of work to keep Phoenix Rising off the point and sort of off guard for most of the play.
Yeah, and we see there, Hammy does take out Cappuccino there. Lorena does get the res back up, but in that moment, Necros getting taken out, Aviator getting taken out, Cappuccino almost getting taken down in that ultimate, but getting Physics and Ripcord, really turning the tide of this fight. And it does look like Hammy is trying to look for this Pharah, really get right up into Cappuccino's face, but it's just going to be Hammy here on this point, really trying to stall it out, really trying to keep the hopes alive for Phoenix Rising. It does look like Physics might be able to touch, however, he doesn't make it, getting taken out by Maestro before he can make it to that point. We're gonna see map 3 here.
Yeah, no, definitely have to gonna go another round. It's gonna be very clutch. It's gonna be very tight. I feel that Ruins is possibly the most difficult map out of the three that you do get for Ilios. A lot of Widow play generally happening here. It's got very long sight lines. It's a great map for Pharah, and we know that both of these teams have exceptional Pharahs. There's a lot of room for something like Sun Phoenix on the Zen to do a lot of work, but we do frequently see that Phoenix Rising sort of going with this divey type comp. They're very comfortable on it. This is a map that works very well for that kind of composition. So it'll be, I think it's going to be a very tight one, this.
Definitely agree with you here, and I think the difference that might come through here is Ripcord being on this Widowmaker. Evo Esports actually opting not to go with that Widowmaker. Aviator getting booped off by Hammy as well as Physics there, really pushing him off as he dived in. Maestro trying to get aggressive on this Diva, however he's probably going to get demeched if he does overextend a little bit more. Necros really putting in lots of work there on the dive tanks of Phoenix Rising, however Hammy in that engagement taking out Cappuccino. Lorena trying to keep the rest of the team up. Necros however going down from Sun Phoenix, and we immediately see a Diva ult coming through there from General Sound very early on. Maestro getting picked up there, taken down, and that's Phoenix Rising taking this point, really pushing up into the faces of Evo Esports.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we've seen Phoenix Rising play a lot of this sort of dive type composition. They do seem to be very comfortable on it. They definitely know what they're doing. Their tanks know when to engage, when to disengage, and Sun Phoenix on the Zen is doing so much work for them. He demexed the Diva, he took down one of the other heroes as well. So the Discord orb definitely allowing for them to sort of do a lot of damage very quickly.
No doubt about it, and I think on the side of Evo Esports here, they might need that Zenyatta. I mean, General Sound there and Physics picking up Aviator, Necros almost going down, Maestro getting demeched, and we see the Discord all playing a massive role here, almost like a focused target that you can kind of focus on. As I say that, however, Necros does take out Sun Phoenix. The General Sound, however, gets him back in return. Cappuccino has opted to swap onto the McCree, his signature hero, taking out Hammy. Maestro demaking General Sound, and it looks like Evo Esports are coming back. They really want this point badly right now. NLT, however, left alone. Ooh, however, he does get taken out right there at the end. But that is 60.
You know, it was a very solid push there from them. We see the Widow. It might be a little difficult for the Widow to set back up the second time around with Evo sort of establishing themselves on this point. So we'll have to see whether they're going to try and stick with this Widow a little bit longer, whether Evo manages to focus the Widow.
Oh, massive
bomb.
ultimate there by General Son. I mean, that's 4. That does look like Phoenix Rising are just going to cap this point, just clean it up, cap the point. NLT, however, unfortunately quite a big fight, but not even needing it. General Sound doing all the work there, popping that Diva ultimate, demaking the Diva and picking up 3. And that's going to be Evo Esports right back on the back foot immediately again. And that's what a big ultimate like that can do, a big play like that, just saving your team out. We see Cappuccino actually going extremely low here. Physics, however, has to back up. He really needs to get back onto this point. Ripcord taking out Cappuccino, and that's going to be Lorena trying to res that McCree. But in that instance, Hummy taking out Aviator. Lorena does get Cappuccino back up, but Sun Phoenix decides it's time for Transcendence. He's going to keep his team alive. He's going to keep them up. It does look like Cappuccino gets taken out by Ripcord immediately. Maestro popping ultimate on point. We see General Sound yet again getting 2 players and the Diva mech with that bomb. Hammy finishing off the baby Diva. Lorena getting taken out by Ripcord. And now it's only Aviator on this point to Sombra to keep the hope alive for Evo. And it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. That goes to Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, no, General Sound most certainly absolutely saving the day for his team. Not only did he manage to take out half the team on that second last engagement, but he had his ultimate back up so quickly to ensure the last push for this fight to just sort of go the way it went. Very well played there.
Yeah, extremely well played by General Son there, reading the game well, knowing that the Winston didn't have bubble up. really popping his ultimate in there, engaging with it, and winning that fight. And as he's winning the next fight after that, yet again, with a big game-changing ult, picking up 2 players, demeching the D.Va, making sure that his team takes that point. And that will be the set of matches for tonight. Phoenix Rising taking it rather convincingly, I'd say, except on the control points where Evo did give them lots of uphill. I mean, in this last map on Ilios, we saw 100-0 for Phoenix Rising, then 100-0 for Evo. Thereafter, the last point getting contested a little bit. Unfortunately, Evo losing their defensive hold, with General San making those 2 big plays there. But what we do see here is Phoenix Rising really looking like a well-oiled machine, really synergizing well with one another. And as you say, that comes from playing lots of dive compositions, really knowing when to engage and disengage on those dive tanks, playing extremely well and to their strengths.
Yeah, no, they absolutely do sort of have this this team composition down. They know what they're doing. They're very comfortable with it, and it shows. Even sort of in those few instances where they did lose the fight and Evo did take control of it, they just recovered so well from it and so quickly that it almost catches the other team off guard.
Precisely, and I must say, extremely impressed here with Evo. Yet again, showing that motivation, that positive mentality, coming back, getting a win out of the matches is a really big up for them. They should really take that with a positive energy, because every single game we're seeing them improving, we're seeing them kind of doing better, and as soon as they have that motivation and intensity, they can take out big teams like Phoenix Rising, who are, I mean, almost currently, I think they are on top of the log at this point in time. And it just goes to show that with a bit more work, I think Evo will kind of recover from the loss of their captain and really be able to form a very, very strong first division or premier team.
Yeah, no, they definitely do have a lot of potential. It's definitely a team to watch out for amongst the many rising stars that we have in this VSG sort of ladder. But yeah, no, they've definitely been putting in a lot of work. We do see them improving quite a bit with every match that they sort of take. So it's always nice to see when teams, do the work, get good.
Yeah, precisely. And I think with that, we are going to be calling it a night. I do have a game to get to, but I'd like to thank everyone for watching the cast. For those of you that did sit through all the pauses, thanks a lot for coming through and watching some good Overwatch. Thank you yet again to Donimay for joining me here today. It's always a pleasure casting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fantastic working with you as always. Thank you and everybody else for bearing with us through the pauses and the word stumbles and, all the all the bad puns. That was a fantastic matchup. Yeah, specifically the bad puns. Thank you to the two teams for this very exciting matchup. Good luck to Phoenix Rising, who's also at the moment moving into yet another game, so they are quite warmed up for their next play. And then I hope we see everybody back here again soon.
Definitely. Stay well.
Bye, everybody.